Emma's life was the definition of ordinary. She lived in a small, quiet town where everyone knew each other's names and secrets. Each day followed the same pattern: wake up, walk to the bookstore where she worked, dust the shelves, help customers find novels, and return home before dinner. The predictability was comforting at times, but lately, it had begun to feel suffocating. Emma often found herself staring out the window at the hills beyond town, imagining what lay beyond the familiar streets. She dreamed of adventure, of seeing oceans and mountains, meeting strangers, and experiencing things she could only read about in books. Yet, despite these dreams, fear and habit kept her rooted. One rainy evening, as Emma was closing the bookstore, she noticed something unusual. Between the pages of an old travel guide was a delicate, cream-colored envelope. She picked it up, feeling the weight of curiosity. The handwriting on the front was elegant and unfamiliar. With trembling fingers, she opened it. Inside was a simple note: "Your journey begins where you least expect it. Take the first step." Emma read it over and over, trying to make sense of it. It wasn't just a random message, it felt personal, almost magical. Her heartbeat quickened, and a strange mix of fear and excitement filled her chest. For the first time in years, Emma felt alive with possibility. That night, she lay awake, imagining where the first step might take her. The rain tapped softly on her window as if echoing the rhythm of her racing thoughts. Something deep inside told her that life was about to change, and that she could no longer stay within the comfort of routine. Emma didn't know it yet, but this small, mysterious note was the spark that would ignite an adventure that would transform everything she had ever known. The morning after finding the mysterious note, Emma woke with a mixture of nervousness and excitement she hadn't felt in years. The ordinary walls of her bedroom suddenly felt too small, too familiar. Clutching the envelope, she made a decision: she would follow the message, take the first step, and see where it led. Her heart raced as she packed a small bag, just a few essentials: her journal, a camera, a map of nearby towns, and a bottle of water. It wasn't much, but it was enough to signal that she was ready for something beyond the predictable life she had always known. Following the instructions in the note, she walked to the edge of town, to an old train station she rarely visited. The station looked abandoned at first glance, its wooden benches weathered, and the tracks gleaming faintly under the early morning sun. She hesitated, the fear of the unknown pressing against her chest, but the note felt like a promise she couldn't ignore. With a deep breath, she bought a ticket to a destination she had never heard of, Rivermist. As the train began to move, Emma pressed her hand against the cool glass of the window. The town slowly disappeared, replaced by rolling hills and mist-covered forests. The landscape looked unreal, almost magical, with sunlight breaking through the clouds in golden streaks. Around her, other travelers chatted softly or stared quietly out the windows, each absorbed in their own journey. Emma felt both insignificant and extraordinary, insignificant in the vastness of the world, yet extraordinary for daring to step into it. For the first time, she realized that her life was no longer just a series of predictable days. With every passing mile, a sense of possibility bloomed inside her. The journey had begun, and Emma felt the exhilarating truth. Adventure wasn't something she read about, it was something she lived. When Emma arrived in Rivermist, she immediately realized that this town was unlike anything she had ever seen. The streets curved in unexpected ways, lined with colorful houses, vibrant markets, and cafes that spilled music and laughter onto the cobblestone roads. It was enchanting, almost dreamlike, but the charm carried a sense of mystery. As she wandered, she quickly became disoriented. The winding streets made it impossible to retrace her steps. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows that twisted across the buildings. Emma's excitement began to mix with unease. Soon, she came to a wide river cutting through the town, its water rushing rapidly over rocks, sparkling in the fading sunlight. The only way forward was an old wooden bridge that creaked ominously under her weight. Her heart pounded, and she felt the first real wave of fear since beginning her journey. The bridge looked unstable, but there was no alternative path. Emma hesitated, imagining the river below and the consequences of one misstep. Taking a deep breath, she reminded herself why she had embarked on this journey. She had left her comfort zone, faced uncertainty, and embraced adventure. Now it was time to trust herself. Step by step, she crossed the bridge, her senses alert to every sound and movement. The wood groaned under her feet, and the wind tugged at her hair, but she moved steadily, refusing to turn back. Reaching the other side, Emma felt a rush of triumph and relief. She realized that this challenge was more than a physical test, it was symbolic of the obstacles she would face in life. She had confronted fear and uncertainty and had emerged stronger. With renewed confidence, Emma stepped into the heart of Rivermist, ready to face whatever else this extraordinary journey had in store for her. The morning after crossing the river, Emma explored the winding streets of Rivermist with a newfound confidence. Every corner seemed alive with stories waiting to be discovered, colorful market stalls, street performers, and curious townspeople who smiled knowingly at strangers. Her curiosity led her to a small, dusty bookshop tucked away in a narrow alley. The wooden sign above the door read, "Whispering Pages," and a bell chimed softly as she entered. Inside, the air smelled of aged paper and ink, and shelves stretched to the ceiling, overflowing with journals, maps, and old letters. An elderly man behind the counter looked up as she wandered the aisles. His eyes twinkled with recognition when he saw the note she carried. "Ah," he said softly, "you've come at last. The journey was waiting for you." Emma's brow furrowed. "What journey? Who sent the note?" The man smiled. "The note wasn't meant to guide you to a place, but to guide you to yourself. Every challenge you face, every unfamiliar street you explore, it awakens something inside: creativity, courage, resilience. Things you've forgotten exist." As he spoke, Emma noticed the journals on the shelves, each one filled with the stories of people who had dared to step into the unknown. She realized that Rivermist itself was a living testament to transformation, a place designed to help travelers discover who they truly were. The truth hit her: the journey wasn't only about leaving her town, it was about discovering her inner strength and potential. Sitting in a quiet corner of the bookshop, Emma opened her own journal and began to write. Words flowed from her like a river she had never dared to navigate before. Each sentence felt like a revelation, and she understood that this journey had already changed her. It wasn't the bridges crossed or the landscapes seen, it was the courage she had found within herself that mattered most. Weeks later, Emma returned to her small hometown, but everything felt different. The familiar streets no longer seemed small or limiting, they felt like a canvas, waiting for her to leave her mark. She walked past the bookstore where her journey had begun, noticing things she had once overlooked: the warm smile of the cashier, the comforting smell of old books, and the gentle hum of town life. Yet Emma herself had changed. She carried the confidence, curiosity, and courage she had discovered in Rivermist, and she knew she could never settle for a life of mere routine again. Inspired by her experiences, Emma began writing a book about her journey. She poured every emotion, every lesson, and every adventure into its pages. The journals she had collected, the letters she had received, and the people she had met became the backbone of a story that was as much about her inner transformation as it was about the places she had seen. Writing became her way of sharing the journey, inspiring others to step beyond comfort and embrace the unknown. One morning, as she placed the first completed chapter on her desk, Emma noticed something that made her smile: another envelope, identical to the first, waiting for her. She picked it up and read the note inside: "The next adventure awaits. Are you ready?" This time, she didn't hesitate. She understood that life itself was a series of journeys, each one designed to teach, challenge, and transform. Adventure wasn't a single event, it was a mindset, a willingness to embrace change and step forward, no matter how uncertain the path. Emma looked out her window, the sun spilling golden light over the town, and felt a thrill she hadn't felt in years. She was ready. Every journey she took from this day forward would shape her, and she knew one thing for certain: life would never be ordinary again.